First story. Confessed 4 years after. Not much to say. It was supposed to be an exit affair. I take responsibility, because I should have just filed for divorce rather than cheat. Our sex life had been awful for years. He had AD and PTSD from war and blamed me for all of it, even in couples counseling. I knew it wasn't right. I was a very sexual woman. I had done kink, open relationships, straight up BDSM before. But he didn't want to acknowledge his part in it. But I loved him so much. It went on years. I met someone and had an emotional affair that got physical. It was just so wonderful to meet someone who thought I was sexy, who actually wanted to touch me, and didn't blame me the one soft time he lost his erection. It gave me my sexuality back. I couldn't take the guilt. I told my husband I wanted a divorce and that I'd had an emotional affair and that we both deserved better. I didn't tell him about the physical affair. To my shock, a week or so after, he proposed an open relationship. It worked for a great while. He got therapy and learned what got him going. Our sex life came back and we were both having polyamorous relationships with others. I never cheated again. After 2 years, he didn't get a dream job he wanted. He had a midlife crisis and decided he wanted to leave and travel the world and blamed me for feeling tied down. He resented me, he said. So I divorced him. It was clean, split everything down the middle. He didn't want to divorce, he said. He was confused, he was vacillating, and even though I still loved him, I filed because I knew he had to be totally single to bring himself back from rock bottom. We were divorced about 7 months. Then he came back. He wanted to try again. He made all these realizations and breakthroughs. I still loved him, so I said yes. I had had relationships with others, but I had never loved anyone like I had loved him. Even though we were open now, I felt so guilty about not telling him about the physical affair. We were so happy these last 8 months, still doing the open relationship thing but prioritizing each other. He asked me to marry him again and I broke down. I told him he deserved to know before we got married again. He deserved the truth and agency. I listened to the advice on here before, about not confessing because it would do no good, that it would selfishly transfer the pain. But in reality, it denied him agency. I wish I had just told him before. He says he's not going anywhere, that mentally he's fine but his body is processing the pain. I'm just crying. It was my choice to cheat, but our marriage was so unworkable toward the end. I should have just divorced him, and it's not fair, because now we are both different people after therapy. We could have been so happy. He says he's not going anywhere, but it's just day 2. I feel like I'm now the villain. But how is that right when I was gaslit and told our sexual problems were all my fault for years? They weren't. Life gave us a shit situation. No one asked for PTSD and mental health issues. I wanted to post here because this community helped me once. Who else would understand? Second story. Should I tell his GF that he cheated? This guy I know, Kyle, 22M. Cheated on his girlfriend of 2 years with me, 21F, on 2 separate occasions. The context and backstory isn't relevant. All that matters is that Kyle is a cheater. The guilt of this has been weighing on me heavily, and I have really been wanting to tell his girlfriend. It's a tricky situation to maneuver because her parents are good friends. This would cause a lot of drama if I told Kyle's girlfriend, as his mom would likely find out and potentially stop being friends with my mom. Regardless, I still think it's important to tell her because I would want to know if the roles were reversed. I asked my mom, as she knows Kyle and has known him for several years, and is good friends with his mom, and she said that I can't tell his girlfriend. She said it's not my business and that Kyle's girlfriend will find out eventually. And my mom said that she doesn't want to be involved in this and doesn't want any drama with Kyle's mother. My mother says that it's not my responsibility to tell Kyle's girlfriend, but I feel like it is because I know that Kyle won't tell her. I tried convincing my mom to see my side, but she won't and is adamant that I don't tell Kyle's girlfriend. My mom says I can tell her if they get engaged, but it seems ridiculous to wait that long because who knows when that will be, and I think it's important that I tell her sooner rather than later and not wait until they intend to spend their lives together, because that could be years from now. I talked to my therapist about this too, and she also doesn't think I should tell his girlfriend. She said that I won't gain anything from telling her, and that I'll just be causing her emotional distress and sadness. She said what my mom said, and that it's not my responsibility to tell his girlfriend. Several friends of mine think that I should tell her because it's the right thing to do, and that they'd want to know if they were in her shoes. So I'm really torn and am getting so many conflicting opinions. The guilt of this is weighing on me so heavily. What if they get married and she never finds out? I feel like I should tell her because they've been dating for 2 years. He's obviously done this before and she hasn't found out and isn't going to find out. I don't know how I'm supposed to live with the fact that Kyle has cheated on his girlfriend of 2 years with me, and probably other women honestly, and I feel like I should tell her. I would want to know if I was in her shoes. This girl seems so sweet and kind, and I can't live with myself knowing this information and that she got cheated on more than once with me. I've been feeling so guilty and terrible and I don't know what to do. I know that Kyle's girlfriend won't find out if I don't tell her, so what do I do? My mom doesn't want me to tell her, but it feels like the right thing to do. Do I let her stay oblivious or do I tell her the truth? Third story. Need advice. Also wanted to vent. I am 26M and my ex is 25F. I met my ex 5 years ago during college. We met on the street on campus. We started hanging out after a lot. She used to drink, but I never though much of it because we were in college and hey, everyone drinks, but I remember on one of our first dates, she drank almost 1.5 bottles of wine, and then started crying talking about her dad who had walked out of her life when she was younger. I did not think much of it as I looked at it as an opportunity to bond and just share some of life's stories. As time went on, things were great. We started playing tennis together and other hobbies, and bonded like I have never bonded with anyone in my life. Life went on like this for years. There were bumps along the way, but nothing that we didn't solve. Life was extremely wholesome. Good friends and happy family life between all of us. My family considered her one of our own, and I think her family considered me the same. Now, I always thought she had a problem with alcohol, but also I am biased because in high school I was made to go to rehab, so I kind of always think people have issues with substances. Because of my friends and I never drank or smoked weed, she never did either all those years other than a few times on special occasions, or so I thought. Last year I got a job offer to work in Milan, Italy, and so the plan was for me and her to move out there together. Me to work and provide for us and her to maybe look into getting a master's there. Once we arrived to Milan, she decided she didn't want to work there anymore, and she got a job in Santa Cruz, California with Partners for Justice, whom I don't mind outing because they are a terrible organization. She moved there after 3 months of being in Milan. Now once she moved she would cry that the long distance was sucky, and so the plan was for me to come back to the US and find a job and slowly move back in together. So I left my job in Milan and moved back to the US. Key point: I took a trip to LA when I moved back because she had a conference there and I met her bosses and other co-workers. Okay, then the plan was for me to drive to Santa Cruz and live in my car and bounce between friends' couches I have in San Fran. Until I have a job. 3 days before I was to drive to Santa Cruz, she was really drunk, and she was at this party with her boss. I didn't think anything of it as I knew him from the conference and I had trust. The night before I was to drive to Santa Cruz, she told that night 2 days previous she had slept with her boss. She then blocked me and did not speak to me for a whole week. Then she had a major breakdown, and I suggested maybe she can come back home to Missouri and we can sort it out. When she came back she would go between thinking we was assaulted, and that it was consensual. She went on to tell me at some point that she remembers me calling her as she was in the midst of it and that it happened twice that night. When she got to Missouri, it was horrible. She was mean. She would say horrible things to me like okais and other just very mean things. Every time I would cry about what had happened, she was tell me to stop throwing it in her face. Her mom and grandma told me also to stop throwing it in her face. Mind you, it had been not even 2 weeks since the occurrence. Well, we tried to work it out, but she was just mean and closed off. She wouldn't cry or anything. And then one day she told me she doesn't want to marry me or she doesn't want any of this, and then blocked me from all communication. Today I ran into her on the street and she ran in the opposite direction. And when I tried to approach her, she closed off her eyes as to not see me, and then just ran as I kind of watched. I feel so low and lost because I am not even sure what is going on. There are so many memories and details. Nothing ever gave me a sign that she would ever do anything like this. I have so much hurt and I am not sure how to move on or what to do, as now I am back in Missouri and I gave up my dream job to come here and start a settled life with her, which we had both decided on, to now not even sure what to do with my future. My family is equally as sad and confused. Please help. Fourth story. Can't believe it happened to me. I feel so broken and devastated. I'm turning to Reddit to see if it's cathartic. Wife for 6 year, relationship for 9. Thought I was the luckiest man in the world to be with such a great gal. We did everything together. Trips, plans, parties, walks. Felt we were inseparable. We rarely argued. We almost never fought. It seemed like we were peas in a pod. No challenge could occur that we couldn't handle. 3 weeks ago I noticed something different. I asked her what's wrong and she said she is really struggling. She doesn't know who she is anymore. She doesn't know if she wants to be married. Wow, I was blown away. Her complaints about us were specific to me, insulting really. I told her we could fix this like any other problem. I asked for couples therapy. She seemed dismissive about it. It was a hell of a week trying to give space, be patient, be kind, but also be independent. I had a therapy appointment that Friday and my therapist really helped. Things at home did not improve. Fast forward to last weekend. I get a random text from some lady with proof my wife is having an affair. I am bewildered and beyond all comprehension. They had the affair the very same day I was having my first therapy. The marriage is over, I know that. I sent her the photo and 30 seconds later I got a Dear John letter. How is this possible? How did this happen? Who is she that this is what she wanted to do? Update. I don't owe you anything. Top week since D-Day. I know everything and I am on my way out. I am getting a new app. She doesn't know yet. I am going no contact as much as possible. I need to move on and be free of this Lyran wretch. It's the only way to recover from such a sudden theft of my reality. This person had the nerve to text me every day to remind me of some BS thing that doesn't matter. Oh, make sure to bring our friends some wine, we owe them. Oh, there is going to be traffic on Tuesday. The dog has been fed. I'm buying a new lawnmower. Why oh why does she not get it? I have not responded to any message and still she is acting like we still have relationship friendship. Anyone else experience this? Anyways, I should have done it earlier. Blocked. Update. Leaving my cheating wife. I am going to be moving out and away from my cheating wife. She doesn't deserve me. I will be moving out this week. She doesn't know yet. Question. What would be a more powerful statement to make? Just leaving and taking my stuff with me, or leaving a note with all the things I want to say to her? I am currently no contact and need to keep it that way. I feel like I don't want to give any power to her, but I still want to call her out on all of her bullshit. Thanks. Stay strong. Fifth story. Is revenge the only way? My 29M, GF27 has been cheating on me for almost 3 weeks now. When I first approached her about it, she claimed it was just fun and flirting, which I didn't have a problem with. Things spiraled from there and she began asking about opening the relationship. I kept asking why, and if there was any way I could fulfill her more to avoid discussing opening the relationship, which she specified she just wanted more on top of what she was already getting. Some things happened and we spiraled. She left to stay with her mom for a few days and returned and basically gave me a list of things to work on. And if these things didn't improve, she didn't see a future with me. She also said she came home because she wanted to further discuss opening the relationship. I was distraught and told her could she please rethink opening the relationship because I don't see how us being in a casual no future scene relationship would be the best spot to open up at. She said she'd talk to her therapist and circle back. Fast forward almost a week and this shit has imploded. She hasn't stopped talking to this guy she told me not to worry about. Our friends know she is forcing a non-consensual open relationship in limbo while waiting on her therapist. She is unable to discuss the relationship with me and everything is question marks. I don't understand why she is so overwhelmed and can't make a decision without the therapist. She is working on some issues, so I overall get it, but this is like, I don't even know. I gave this woman 7 years of my life, and I even support her as she continues her education. I understand she wanted me to work on showing more interest in her, taking more ownership of monitoring bills, and a few other things, but I literally flipped a switch that same night and gave everything she asked, to which she was upset. At this point I don't think there is anything left for us. She has another convo with her therapist this week, and she will then let me know what's up. I have asked to break up, and given her opportunity to leave, but she just won't accept it. I also won't accept it. I thought this was my wife, and now I'm being left over a 21-year-old. She had told me in the beginning the kid was aware she's in a relationship, but one of her friends, who ironically told her to stop f***ing cheating, lol. Let me know he isn't aware. I have his socials. Is it wrong of me to reach out and tell him what is going on and let him know she is a serial cheater? She got with me the same way. I hadn't known she was in a relationship but figured that was 7 years ago. Surely she wouldn't do it again? At this point it would just be for revenge. I don't even think I would listen if I were him. I have pictures of their texts as proof. Either way, I don't feel like there's any coming back from it. Why is this my first time hearing the phrase monkey branching? That's crazy. Sixth story. Wife just told me she cheated. My wife just told me she had sex with a random guy in an alley behind the bar a month ago. Here's her story. On her last day of a job she's had for years at a bar, she got super wasted. I had called her about midnight to see if she was okay. She normally closes, so that's normal time, and she said she was fine. About 2 a.m. I tried calling again but no answer. At 6 a.m. she texted me and said she had fell asleep on a friend's couch and her phone was dead. I had a hard time believing that for sure. We have been together for 10 years and married for 2.5. She came home about 7:30 am and said she had went to her car and slept off the hangover, which I found very strange. Fast forward 3 weeks and she calls me at work saying, "You know what I did?" and I'm sorry. I was like, "No I don't, so please tell me." She said she had made out with a guy and he played with her toys and she felt really guilty. We had a long talk and honestly it really didn't bother me too much in the moment. Another week goes by and she's being distant. We are heading out to go on a camping trip and are chatting and I ask, "Can you tell me the details of that night?" I get bits of truth coming out. Honestly, I'm still not convinced it's the whole story. She got hella drunk and left the bar to walk to another bar, and along the way her and this guy fuck in an alley. I'm totally not convinced this is the way it went down. She said it wasn't emotional, just physical. They have only seen each other once in passing and he was a band member in a show at her bar and she was the bartender. I can't get any more details out of her, just in an alley and only physical. I need help. Seventh story. My wife, 34F, is crying upstairs and it doesn't bother me, 36M, anymore. Just realizing how mentally checked out of my marriage I am, due to lack of sex. Not sure how to proceed with making the divorce smooth. I'm 36 and I've been married for 10 years. One major issue is that our marriage has been sexless for quite a while now, with my wife refusing any intimacy. This lack of physical connection is taking a toll on our relationship. My birthday was recently, and my wife always goes all out for it. But honestly, it seems more for social media than for me. She usually plans activities she loves, but I don't, like shopping and visiting craft stores. I've told her these things aren't fun for me. If I had my way, I'd spend the day with her and our son. Maybe go to the zoo, have a nice dinner, and just relax at home. I work long hours because, to be blunt, it's easier than coming home to a place where I don't feel wanted or intimate. The day before, I got home early, took a shower, and went to my man cave to relax. I fell asleep and didn't wake up until almost midnight. I checked my phone and saw a bunch of missed calls from my wife, which is unusual. I called her back, but she didn't answer, so I assumed she was asleep and went to make a sandwich. Suddenly, she burst into the kitchen, yelling and accusing me of lying about where I'd been. I explained that I came home early, took a shower, and accidentally fell asleep. She accused me of seeing someone else and said she hoped she was worth it, which shocked me. I asked her who she was referring to. She screamed that I shouldn't expect any intimacy on my birthday because of the stunt I pulled today. I told her I don't expect nor want sex from her, especially since we haven't been intimate in 2 years. Of course I am resentful of that. This made her burst crying, and she went upstairs and locked the door. I didn't follow her. I don't get why she's so upset or why she doesn't trust me. She rarely calls me at work, and I've never given her a reason to doubt me. Is she feeling insecure because I've stopped trying to initiate intimacy? For some context, I work 12 to 14-hour shifts, starting at 4 a.m., so I can be home for dinner, help my son with homework, play catch, and do other activities with him. I get 2 weeks of PTO a year. I spend 1 week doing father-son activities like camping and fishing, and the other week making sure I don't miss his important events. My son never has to wonder if I love him. The man cave is an entertainment room for us to watch movies and play games together. My wife is always welcome there, but she seldom joins us. Today is my birthday. My son and I are at the zoo. We had breakfast at our favorite cafe, and we're just enjoying the day together. This has been my best birthday in years. About the divorce, I don't even know how to break it to her. She will be a mess. It will devastate her. She has asked for us to go to marriage counseling, but I am just not interested in trying anymore. 8th story. I am 28, know that my son isn't mine, but my wife F26 doesn't think that I do. How do I have this conversation with her? Hello all, throwaway. I made this as short as possible. I'm sorry. I've been married to my wife for 3 years and together for 5. Our son just turned 2 in early June, and to put it bluntly, he looks biracial. His skin is darker than I thought it would have been. He has curly hair when we most certainly don't, and his features just don't look like the standard white people, which we are. He's a beautiful boy. He just doesn't look 100% white. I asked my wife a few days after his birthday if she thought our son looked white. She said yes and asked if I'm accusing her of something. I said no because I genuinely wasn't, I just was wondering. I know genetics can be weird sometimes. We fought and I apologized, but I wasn't able to shake the feeling, so I did the shitty thing and got a test done behind my wife's back. The results came in a few days ago and I'm not my son's dad. I feel conflicted about my son. I love him, but knowing that he isn't mine is leaving a sour taste in my mouth. Our son definitely prefers me and he's my world, but he's just not biologically mine. I don't know what to make of my feelings. I'm a mix of emotions about my wife. I don't know how to talk to her. I'm angry, confused, and feeling very, very betrayed. I'm heartbroken too. I still love her. She's working at the moment and I don't want to disturb her at her office, but I feel like I'm going to explode. This is all very difficult for me to process and I can't. I can't think of when my wife cheated. We always had each other's locations for safety purposes, and I can't think of any suspicious friends that she has or had. We go on regular dates and our bedroom isn't dead. We were also trying for a baby around that time, so I don't know when she cheated on me or why. Ever since we married, she's been over the moon, constantly showing off her ring and talking about me. She's like a teenager in love. How do I tell her that I know, or get that ball rolling? I don't know what I want to do yet, as stupid as that sounds. I've been stewing on it for a few days, but I still love her so much. Maybe someone can knock some sense into me? I need help. I'm becoming overwhelmed with the comments. I'm sorry. I wanted to reply to a few, but I can't. I just wanted to say thank you for commenting, and that I also hope our baby was just swapped, as terrible as that sounds. Our baby didn't look biracial at birth. As he got older, he started developing features that didn't look entirely like ours. If our son's skin didn't darken over time, I don't think I ever would have questioned anything. The other features can be explained as a fun little surprise or a few generation hops maybe. I know that genetics can be weird,